Well, we're currently standing in Oxford Circus. This is central London. With me, members of the Indian student community here in London, joined by Porosh, Nandini, and of course Vignesh. Representation के हिसाब से अगर आपको बता दें तो we have with us Uttar Pradesh, we also have with us Punjab, and we also have with us Tamil Nadu. So let's get cracking. Let's try and understand what they're feeling like as well. Porosh, I'm going to begin with you. What's the situation like right now? Labor or conservative, वो बात तो चलती रहेगी, but what's important is that what are the issues and concerns of the student community? What are your hopes and aspirations? How are you looking at the UK elections?
I think there are a number of concerns when it comes to students' community and with the cost of living crisis, with the housing crisis. But if you talk specifically for immigrant students who've come here a long way from home, spending so much amount of money and deserve a bit of repercussions from the Britain government as well, I think few of the major is first of all the visa issues that's happening, the visa changes, the immigration rules that have been recently changed by the Conservative Party. That makes it really tough for us to stay here, further our career, get an opportunity, work hard, and build our safe career and to progress and further in our career. I think that's the major issue for us. Second is of course the job employment. We are students who are coming here apart from home. The first basic need is to get a part-time job to sustain themselves. That's been really hard, not in just London but in UK. If you go out there asking for a part-time job, it takes months and months for you to just get a part-time job. So it's really hard for you to sustain on the basis of just for the part-time jobs. And also the rent increase up. You're not getting easily housing rent as well. It's really difficult to find. It's probably a task to find a home. And if
Housing has gone four times,
yes.
the average salary.
Yes, I tell you where I'm staying right now currently. I came in here with a certain set of amount that I'm paying rent. It has been tripled till now, and the new incomer students who have come in, they're paying triple the amount that I used to pay, and I'm still paying.
They'll probably play triple in the years to come as well.
The years to come, it's just increasing, and the issue with that is neither the government, the Conservative Party, or the Labour Party are mentioning anything about in their manifesto about lowering the housing prices or doing something for the student community, whether it's home students or the international students. That's the major concern. That's why it's very tricky for students to see where should we lead to, whether it's Conservative or the Labour, because they're both in the same boat. So we don't know who to trust for this upcoming election.
Many are saying that there needs to be a lot of money to carry out the benefits that have been promised in various manifestos, and it's just going to be a situation of changing the hat, but nothing's going to happen essentially on the ground. Nandini, and I've learned that these two here are office bearers in the university student council as well. Student council is that focal point place where you get to understand what are the actual issues of the students as well. How are you looking at the elections?
So I know for a fact that I've been in the university since 2019, and university just considers international students as mere cash cows, and they've always relied on international students for a majority of their income. And if international students stop coming, there's a very high chance that a lot of higher education institutes will just go bankrupt. So the fact that universities are reliant on international students so much, they do so little for them, and that has something that has come across a lot of times, especially because 70% of the students at universities are international students, and they don't see any reforms, any laws which are in favor of them. And with the issues that already Porosh mentioned about housing, jobs, I think it's just going to become worse irrespective of who comes and leads the government here.
So if there was a change, and if there was a change for the good, for the better, I see there's a plethora of problems.
Yeah.
What do you think the new dispensation should prioritize out of these, problems that are at least in front of them?
I think firstly will be the laws around immigration. Second will be jobs, housing, and also medical facilities, because again a lot of international students, they come here without any support, without any backing or any relatives staying here. So they need all the basic facilities, which basically are all of these. And I think other than that, international students might also focus a lot on sense of belonging, which doesn't really exist here.
To as well. But I've also realized that Bangladeshis, Pakistanis, and predominantly Indians have held the entire tertiary sector on their back, be it the delivery boys, or be it the public works department, be it the plumbing, the electricians. A lot of that is being done by people from overseas, specifically from the subcontinent. Now, the immigration policies, if you would want to touch upon that as well. If the Labour Party does come in, they're talking about stricter immigration list, salary revisions as well. Do you think that's going to be something that the overseas community is going to be thinking about at this point in time? People who are mulling to come live here, work here?
I think that's a make or break case for them in both the parties. And I think before I touch upon that, we need to go back and see what sorts of plan and manifesto both the parties are bringing. If you see the ITV debate between the Sir Keir Starmer and Rishi Sunak, if you see the BBC debate, Labour Party does not have any plan. If you talk about immigration, what sorts of immigration rules are you going to bring in? They don't have any answer. But if you look at Conservative and Rishi Sunak, when you see the report card, it doesn't really say much that they've done something for the immigrants. And yes, the immigration, the population is reserved so much in Britain and UK, and I think it's going to be a huge effect if you stricter the populations. I get that illegal immigration should be looked upon, but those who are coming in a legal way, they're trying to further their career, they're trying to have a better lifestyle. I think it's unfair on them, because when they come in, they do a lot of hard work, they spend millions of money just to stay here, and all you get in return is just say, you've done your PSW, you don't get any further opportunities. Go back where you came from, and there's no place for you. And this is going to be a huge impact on UK's economy, because if immigrants are not here, there's a lot of industries, a lot of cultural aspects that are going to come into play, and a lot of industries will go down. For example, construction business, it's majorly heavily dominated by immigrants. It's going to go down. Restaurant businesses are going to go down if you don't bring immigrants, you don't give them opportunities. International students, majority of the universities run upon them, and there was a rule, there's a bill that was going to get passed that they're going to remove the PSW, the postgraduate visa, from 2 years to 6 months, which was opposed by majority of the universities, because they know that if that comes down, majority of the universities will go bankrupt and students won't come into the UK for their studies. So it's got a huge impact. And I'm not sure what sorts of policies are going to be bringing in by both the parties, because there's no proof of evidence that this is something that they will do if they come into power. So that's going to be a huge impact, and that's going to be something that we need to see when and whoever comes into the power.
You guys are Indian students here. We now are hearing that India is rising as a superpower, at least in the global southeast. It's become the voice of the global south. And the Modi factor is something that people talk about as well. Is that something that you feel pride in as well, that your Prime Minister, he's being revered and talked about all across the world? If I could ask you that.
I mean, I've been here for a few years, but of course I've got my family, I've got my friends back in India, and they keep telling me about how India is progressing every single day. And I think we do have Modi to credit, and he's basically done a lot for the country, and I'm hoping that he continues doing the amazing work that he is.
All right. And Vignesh, you're from Tamil Nadu, from back at home. You said you're from Chennai. The politics of Chennai as well. Would you like to throw some light on that? The DMK versus AIA DMK battle. Are you keeping in touch with what's happening in Tamil Nadu as well?
Well, you would have seen the results that came up. It was 40 out of 40 for the DMK. Being a supporter of the DMK as well back home, it's a proud moment. I would say politics in Tamil Nadu, it's a bit one-sided ever since we lost two major leaders back then. So since 2021, politics has been one-sided. I think it would expect it to go the same way for some time. But I think we'd even seen this election. You spoke about the Modi factor. It doesn't work in Tamil Nadu, but we still got to appreciate the fact that India is, as you rightly mentioned, India is a global leader in terms of major developing countries. But I think there are still certain facts that we can still work upon in terms of economic policies. If you see the GDP per capita, it's very low in the top 5. I mean, you can happily say that India